Hello everyone. So today we'll be dealing with the topic minimum support price. This topic has been in news recently. The farmers of our country are protesting against the three contentious farm laws, and a major part of the disagreement or discontent seem to be revolving around the topic of minimum support price. So today we'll be seeing what minimum support price is, how it is calculated, and also its link with the farm laws. So let's briefly analyze these Farm Acts. The Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Act 2020 analyzed the farmers to sell their produces outside the APMC mandis even to the end customers if they offers higher prices. The second one, the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Act 2020 allows the farmers to enter into contract farming agreements. And the third one, the Essential Commodities Amendment Act 2020. It declassifies items like onions, pulses, then potatoes, edible oil seeds and oils from the essential items list. So what upsets the farmers is that none of these acts includes anything or any mention about the minimum support price. The minimum support price was first brought in 1960. To be precise, it was brought in 1965. So, but till now there is no legislative setup to back it up. So, no legislative backup is there for the MSP. That means that if ever the government want to cancel the minimum support price, or if ever it want to stop providing the farmers with minimum support price, it can do so. And there is no law that mandates the government to provide minimum support price to the farmers. So that is something that concerns the farmers. The farmers think that if the minimum support price is stopped, they would fall prey in the hands of corporates and their exploitation. And there is another thing. The Prime Minister of the country, through a verbal promise, has promised the farmers that this would stay, that is MSP would not be removed. But the farmers are not ready to accept it. What they demand is a written promise, or they demand the statutory recognition of MSP. So this is the background of minimum support price, and now let's see what MSP is. So what is MSP? MSP is a rate at which the farmers sells their produces to the government, or it is a rate at which the government procures the produces from the farmers to ensure that the changes in the market prices does not negatively affect the farmers. And also it acts like a safety net to the farmers if the prices falls drastically. So the farmers are investing an amount as a cost of production for various expenses like irrigation, electricity, etc. So there is one cost of production, and they are selling their produce at a market price. So the difference between this market price and this cost of production is the profit margin that the farmers are receiving. But what happens if this market price decreases? The profit margin will also decrease. And if this market price decreases beyond the or far under the cost of production, then the farmers will be at loss, they will be at distress. So it is such situations that leads to the farmers' suicides and all. But the government want to save the farmers from such a situation. Hence, it has provided the MSP as a safety net. If the farmers enters into the MSP, the procurement will be done by the FCI or the CCI, etc. And the MSP is also utilized by the government as a tool. That is, if the supply of a certain crop decreases, then the government can hike the price of it. That is, the government can hike the MSP so that more farmers would be lured into cultivating that crop and the supply would be increased. So if the demand of certain crop is high but the supply is less, the government can just hike the MSP. So the support prices are announced for about 23 crops, and it is called as minimum support price for 22 crops, and in case of sugarcane it is called as the fair and remunerative prices. So under this 22 crops, it includes of about 14 kharif crops, 6 rabi crops and 2 commercial crops. So let's see what these crops are. It includes paddy, wheat, maize, sorghum, millet, barley, ragi, gram, tur, moong, urad, lentil, groundnut, mustard, soybean, sesame, sunflower, then safflower, nigerseed, copra, cotton, rojute, and plus the fair and remunerative prices provided for the sugarcane. So the announcement of minimum support price is done not after the sowing season, but it is announced before the sowing season. You should keep this in mind. Then we must also understand that there are no fruits and vegetables included in this list, even though they are easily perishable. These fruits and vegetables are, but none of them are included in this list. And also there is a limit of procurement under MSP. It is not unlimited. The procurement is limited per farmer per day. Okay, so just because a farmer has cultivated 10 tons etc., that the whole thing wouldn't be procured. There is a limit for procurement under the minimum support price. And there is another point that the MSP is not completely effective for all these 23 crops. So the MSP was introduced in 1965, and it was during a period when India was facing so much of drought, famine and all. So what the government wanted was to provide remuneration to the farmers through MSP. It also wanted to decrease India's dependence on the foreign imports. We were importing grains and all, so the government wanted to reduce that too. And for that reason, the Agriculture Prices Commission, it was established in 1965, and this Agriculture Prices Commission was renamed in 1985 as the CACP. CACP means the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, CACP. So this CACP recommends the MSP. CACP does not fix the MSP, but it just recommends it. How does it recommend it? It considers the cost of production of various states and it takes the average of it. So what the problem that happens here is that maybe some states will have high cost of production, okay, and some states will have very less cost of production. When the average is taken, the states with higher cost of production will not be benefited here. So that is a problem with regard to MSP, okay. Then so CACP recommends the minimum support price. It is a statutory body actually. So CACP is a statutory body and it is under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. It is a statutory body under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Then this MSP recommended by CACP is approved by the Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs. The Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs, which is chaired by the Prime Minister, approves it, and this is announced by the Government of India. And the procurement under the minimum support price scheme, it is done by the Food Corporation of India. In case of Cotton Corporation of India, NAFED and plus other state government agencies. So it is not just the FCI, there are other state government agencies also which are involved in this. Now let's see how MSP is calculated. So earlier the minimum support price, earlier means before the budget 2018-19. In the budget 2018 a change happened, okay. So earlier before the budget 2018-19 the MSP was calculated based on several factors, okay. These factors includes the demand and supply. We all know when the demand increases and when the supply is less, the price increases, okay. Then the cost of production, intercrop price parity. The intercrop price parity means the cost of similar kind of crops would be same, okay. Then the terms of trade between agriculture and non-agricultural sectors. That means the agricultural producers, that is which are used as raw materials for the non-agricultural sectors. This non-agricultural sectors includes a food processing industry and all. So the raw materials used for the food processing industry and similar industries, non-agricultural sectors, okay. The trade between them, that is considered. Then the implications for consumers. So all these factors were considered earlier, but in the budget 2018-19 it was announced that the MSP would be 1.5 times the cost of production. MSP was set as 1.5 times the cost of production. So this was set as a predetermined principle. What does it mean by predetermined principle? So now the CACP just has to consider or find the cost of production. It doesn't have to consider any other factor. It just had to find the cost of production, and whatever the cost of production is, the MSP would be 1.5 times of that, okay. And such an announcement was based on the MS Swaminathan Committee report, Dr. MS Swaminathan Committee report of 2006. So this committee report proposed that MSP should be set as 50% margin of the production cost, that is 1.5 times the production cost. But here the production cost is C2. The production cost proposed by the MS Swaminathan Committee is C2, whereas the government set the production cost as A2 plus FL. So both of them are different. Okay, we'll see what C2, A2 and FL, all of that is. So as I said, CACP calculates the MSP based on A2 plus FL formula. What is A2? A2 includes of all paid out cash by the farmer, whatever cash or cost the farmer has paid out, all paid out cost in way of both cash as well as kind. All the paid out costs directly incurred by the farmer as both cash as well as the kind. So this includes examples like seeds, the amount given for seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, the hired labor is included in this, then the leased land, whatever rent or amount paid for taking land in lease, then fuel, irrigation, etc. So the hired labor is included in A2. There is another labor, that is the family labor. The members of the family will be indulging in the farm activities. So even if the amount or the salary for them is not directly paid, that amount should be considered. So FL considers that the unpaid family labor. So A2 means all paid out cost and the FL is unpaid family labor. So these both are the factors that the CACP considers. But according to MS Swaminathan Committee, it considers C2. C2 is much more comprehensive than A2 plus FL. It includes of two additional elements, which are rentals on owned land and interest foregone on fixed capital assets. So what does it mean by rentals on owned land? So if the farmer was not doing farm activities in his land, he could have given it out for rent or for lease. Then he will be getting money for that. So his asset, his land is income generating. So that has to be considered. So that is what meant by rentals on owned land. Then interest foregone on fixed capital assets. So what is a fixed capital asset for a farmer? The capital assets includes of the tractors, the sowing machine, the harvesting machine, all those machines and all. So that is meant by capital assets. So if it was taken from a bank, then a monthly interest should be given for that, right? A monthly interest. So that is included in the interest foregone on fixed capital assets. So C2 is more comprehensive than A2 plus FL. Hence, the farmers are demanding that the MSP announced by government at 1.5 times the production cost should be based on not A2 plus FL, but it should be based on C2, because if C2 is provided, then the farmers will be getting much more amount, or they will be getting better remuneration. So the farmers are demanding that this production cost should be C2 and not A2 plus FL. And as I have already said, the farmers are also demanding for a statutory recognition of the minimum support price. So now let's see a few questions regarding this topic. So the first question, this was 2020 prelims question, and consider the following statements. Okay, in the case of all cereals, pulses and oilseeds, the procurement at minimum support price is unlimited in any state or UT of India. So as I have already said, the procurement is not unlimited. There is a limit for this procurement per farmer per day. So that statement is wrong. Then the second statement, in the case of cereals, pulses, the MSP is fixed in any state or UT to which the market price will never rise. That is wrong, because market price will can either rise or it can either decrease. So as we saw, it is provided, that is the MSP is provided as a safety net only, and definitely the market price can increase or decrease. There can be fluctuation. So that statement is wrong too. Thus the answer is neither one nor two, the option D. Okay. So the second question, with reference to the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, CACP, consider the following statement. It is an attached office of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Yes, that's right. It is an attached office of the Ministry of Agriculture. Then the second question, it fixes the minimum support price for majority of the crops. I told you this already. It does not fixes the price, it just recommends the minimum support price. So the second statement is wrong and the first statement is right. So the answer is A, 1 only. So that's it for today. Thank you.